Hey there, folks. Welcome back to the Far Left Show. Today's story is a goddamn 5-alarm fire for public health and basic governmental function. Just when you thought these bastards couldn't sink any lower, they find a new shovel. We're talking about a coordinated, malicious attack on the very agencies designed to protect American lives, spearheaded by the feckless Trump regime and its hand-picked wrecking ball at HHS. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. It's not just mismanagement, it's, deliberate fucking sabotage. 20, count them. 20 state attorneys general have had enough of this shit. They've banded together, Democrats, thankfully, showing some goddamn spine, to sue the Department of Health and Human Services, Kennedy Jr., and the whole corrupt Trump apparatus. Why? Because these clowns are actively dismantling HHS, firing essential personnel, and restructuring the agency into oblivion, all under the bullshit guise of streamlining. Give me a fucking break. As New York Attorney General Letitia James put it so perfectly, this administration is not streamlining the federal government, they are sabotaging it and all of us. She's absolutely right. They're targeting the scientists researching infectious diseases, the doctors helping pregnant patients, the programs supporting sick minors and vulnerable kids. This isn't making America healthy, it's a, fucking death sentence for countless people. The lawsuit specifically calls out a March 27th directive as the smoking gun, a plan dripping with malice that outlines sweeping cuts and reorganizations. The AGs are demanding the courts declare this directive unlawful, arguing it's not just illegal under administrative law, but, fundamentally unconstitutional. It's a power grab designed to cripple an essential government function because, Trump and his cronies fundamentally don't believe in government serving the people. And let's be clear, this March 27th directive wasn't some isolated incident. The lawsuit points out, correctly, that this is just the brutal escalation of a years-long campaign by the Trump administration to starve HHS of the resources and personnel it desperately needs. They've been systematically trying to bleed it dry, and now they've decided to just, take a fucking axe to its core functions. The sheer scale of this destruction is staggering. We're talking about firing thousands of dedicated public servants. They want to gut 28 different divisions down to just 15, effectively eliminating huge swathes of expertise and institutional knowledge overnight. And they plan to slash the number of regional HHS offices from 10 down to 5, pulling essential services further away from the communities that, rely on them. It's a calculated move to make government less responsive and less effective. And how did Secretary Kennedy, Trump's handpicked tool for this demolition job, go about it? Well, according to the lawsuit, he refused to undertake this restructuring legally or carefully. No shit. This wasn't about thoughtful reform. It was about breaking things fast and damn the consequence. It's the classic Trump playbook: disregard rules, ignore expertise, and prioritize brute force political vandalism over competent governance. Now, get this. The supposed justification for decimating nearly a quarter of the HHS workforce, kicking 20,000 people to the curb, is savings. You'd expect massive savings, right? Wrong. By their own fucking admission, this carnage saves less than 1% of HHS expenditures. Less than 1%, You don't cripple national public health infrastructure for pocket change unless your real goal is simply to cripple national public health infrastructure. It's a goddamn lie. Plain and simple. The lawsuit highlights that Congress hasn't even cut their funding. Appropriations have been steady, even growing in recent years. They laid off probationary employees, pushed buyouts, and still weren't facing a shortfall. This isn't about fiscal responsibility, it's about ideological purity, about dismantling any part of the government that actually helps people, serves science, or contradicts their warped, fucking worldview. The lawsuit drives home the real-world consequences of this bullshit. It's not just numbers on a spreadsheet, it's about whether these agencies can actually do their goddamn jobs, the jobs Congress requires them to do by law. The AGs meticulously detail how these cuts hamstring agency after agency within HHS, making it impossible for them to fulfill their mandates. Let's take the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. The CDC, arguably one of the most critical agencies for national and global health security. According to the complaint, roughly 2,400 CDC employees were fired on April Fool's Day. How fucking appropriate for this joke of an administration. These aren't faceless bureaucrats. They're, scientists, researchers, communication specialists, disease detectives, and look who got the axe. The lawsuit states all the workers handling Freedom of Information Act requests were fired. Gee, I wonder fucking why. Maybe because this administration despises transparency and accountability? They also fired key members of the communications team. Gotta silence the experts. Can't have them contradicting the dear leader's latest quackery. The damage goes deeper. The division of global HIV, tuberculosis, fighting actual fucking plagues around the world, lost about a quarter of its staff. How does that make America safer? How does that align with any sane national interest? It doesn't. It's petty, vindictive, and incredibly fucking short-sighted. But perhaps the most terrifying part, the section the lawsuit calls the most egregious example, is the assault on the CDC's infectious disease laboratories. These are the places that detect, identify, and investigate dangerous pathogens. According to the suit, these labs have either been completely shuttered or had their capacity drastically reduced. Think about that. In a world facing constant threats from new and recurring infectious diseases, the Trump administration is deliberately blinding and disarming our first line of defense. It's criminally irresponsible. It is criminally irresponsible. The lawsuit explicitly states that these cuts are destroying the CDC's ability to meet its legal mandates, the things Congress tasked it with doing to protect us. Detecting diseases, investigating outbreaks, identifying threats, the very foundation of public health response is being, systematically dismantled by these assholes. Rhode Island Attorney General Peter Nerona, who's co-leading this crucial lawsuit, didn't mince fucking words either. He stated, "Since day one, this president and his administration have attempted to illegally decimate agencies across the federal government upon which the American people rely." He nailed it. This isn't just about HHS. It's a pattern, a deliberate strategy to weaken every check, every balance, every institution that doesn't, bow down to Trump's autocratic impulses. Narana also pointed out the sheer insanity of the timing. We're seeing measles cases spike, a disease we thought we had under control, and the threat of the next pandemic is always looming. Yet, this is the moment Trump and Kennedy choose to take an axe to the agency responsible for the health and safety of Americans. It's beyond wildly irresponsible. It's fucking nihilistic. It displays a staggering contempt for human life and a profound ignorance, or perhaps deliberate disregard, of basic science and public health principles. You don't weaken your pandemic response capabilities ever, let alone when warning signs are flashing red. Only an administration fundamentally hostile to the well-being of its own citizens could pursue such a destructive path. And let's talk about Robert F. Kennedy Jr. for a second. Putting this anti-science conspiracy theorist in charge of health and human fucking services was already an insult to competence and reason. Now we see him dutifully carrying out Trump's orders to gut the agency, proving he's nothing more than, a useful idiot in their quest to dismantle effective government and endanger American lives. His presence there is a daily middle finger to science and public trust. The fact that 20 attorneys general felt compelled to take this drastic step, speaks volumes. This isn't some partisan stunt by one or two states. It's a broad coalition representing millions of Americans from coast to coast who see this administration's actions for what they are. Dangerous, unlawful, and utterly unacceptable. We're talking New York, California, Illinois, Michigan, Minnesota, Washington, and many more. They see the fucking threat. It highlights just how extreme and damaging these HHS cuts truly are. These AGs are on the front lines, dealing with the real-world health crises in their states. They know that gutting the CDC, crippling research, and firing essential health workers isn't some abstract policy debate. It has life and death consequences for their constituents. They wouldn't be suing the federal government if the situation wasn't dire. This whole debacle is a perfect microcosm of the Trump administration's governing philosophy, if you can even call it that. It's government by wrecking ball. They don't believe in the mission of these agencies. They don't value scientific expertise. They don't give a rat's ass about public health or environmental protection or consumer safety unless, one of their billionaire buddies stands to profit. Their solution to everything is cuts, deregulation, and installing loyalist morons who will carry out the destructive agenda. Look at the EPA, the State Department, the Department of Education. It's the same fucking story everywhere. Hollow out the agency, drive out the career professionals, silence dissent, and replace competence with cronyism. Fuck the consequences for ordinary Americans. And let's not forget the constant stream of lies and bullshit used to justify it all. Pretending these massive HHS cuts, firing 20,000 people, are about saving a measly 1%. It's insulting to our intelligence. They think we're all as stupid as their MAGA base. The real reason is ideological. They hate government that works for the people, and they're trying to break it so badly it can never be put back together. It's crucial to remember what the AGs are arguing here, that this isn't just shitty policy, it's illegal. They specifically cite violations of the Administrative Procedure Act and the Constitution itself. This administration, drunk on its own perceived power, thinks it can just, bypass Congress and rewrite the structure and function of the executive branch by fiat. That's not how democracy fucking works. They treat laws and procedures like inconvenient suggestions, not binding rules. The arrogance is breathtaking. Firing thousands of people, crippling essential agencies, potentially violating the law, it's all just another Tuesday for these clowns. Accountability is like a foreign concept to them. They genuinely seem to believe that if Trump wants it, it's legal, constitutional, and morally correct, no matter how much damage it does. And the damage is deep and potentially long-lasting. You don't just fire 25% of an agency's workforce, including specialized scientists and experienced personnel, and expect things to just, snap back if a sane administration takes over. That institutional knowledge is gone. The research projects are disrupted. The trust is broken. Rebuilding that capacity takes years, if it can even be fully done. Think about the message this sends to dedicated public servants, that their expertise isn't valued, their careers are precarious, and their mission can be torpedoed at any moment by political hacks like Kennedy Jr. Carrying water for a wannabe dictator. Like, why would bright, talented people want to work for a government that treats its employees and its responsibilities with such utter fucking contempt? This entire HHS fiasco is a symptom of the larger disease. The Trump administration's fundamental hostility towards a competent, functioning, democratic government. They are actively working to undermine the very institutions designed to protect and serve the American people, and they're doing it out in the open, daring anyone to stop them. Thank God these 20 attorneys general are stepping up to the fucking plate. So, what we're witnessing is nothing less than a direct assault on the health and safety of every single American, orchestrated from the highest levels of our government. The decision to gut HHS, fire scientists, shutter labs, and silence experts during a time of ongoing and potential health threats is malpractice on a scale that beggars fucking belief. It's sabotage disguised as, policy. This lawsuit by the 20 attorneys general is a vital act of defiance against this executive overreach and destructive incompetence. It's a fight not just to save HHS, but to defend the principle that government agencies should function based on law, science, and the public good, not the whims of a corrupt and ignorant president and his, unqualified lackeys like RFK Jr. We have to stay vigilant, folks. This isn't just one agency, it's the blueprint they want to apply everywhere. They want to break government, sell off the pieces, and leave us vulnerable and unprotected. They despise the idea of collective action and public service because it stands in the way of their, greed and their authoritarian ambitions. This HHS attack is proof positive of their malicious intent. The sheer audacity of firing 20,000 people for negligible savings while demonstrably increasing public health risks tells you everything you need to know about their priorities. Power, loyalty, and destruction are all that matter. The well-being of the American people doesn't even fucking register. We need to keep calling out this bullshit, supporting those fighting back, and demanding accountability. That's all the time we have for today's shit show. Make sure you like the video, share, subscribe, and click the notification bell to keep updated. And I will see you in the next breaking news. Stay angry, stay informed.